Today from entitled parents. An entitled father tried to get me kicked out of a store for having big breasts. So the only reason why the entitled parent story in this story didn't go to prison was because I was 18 at the time. But the fact that this happened the way it did still makes me mad. So when I turned 18, I started working at a call center and often walked around the city a lot in order to avoid my toxic mother. Yes, I know what you're thinking, but I was safe and always had a form of self-defense. I was young, but not stupid. Anyway, that year, I experienced another growth spurt and went from C cup to a double D cup, and I was getting a lot of weird looks when in public. As much as I hate to say it, I was pretty young and naive, so I never thought it was because of the way my body changed, but I preferred to keep my distance from people. One day I decided I was going to Walmart so I could pick out some yarn for a crochet project I wanted to work on while at work. We were allowed to crochet as long as we didn't avoid the calls that were automatically answered on our systems. While I was checking out the yarn, I noticed a kid who looked like he was 13 or 14 standing at the end of the aisle watching me. Thanks to my history of getting bullied and beaten up, I immediately grew cautious and started debating if I wanted to get my yarn here or go to the Hobby Lobby across the parking lot. Before I could make a decision, an adult man came up and started leading the son off, so I started to relax and think that I was overreacting. That is, until the dad came back. "Dad, excuse me, but where did you get your implants? They look so real." Me, excuse me? I was really embarrassed and shocked, and I was already getting creeper vibes from this guy. "Your implants," he waves his hands in front of my breasts and gets uncomfortably close to me. "Where did you get them?" I was at a loss of words and didn't know if he was serious or just being a creep overall. At this moment, the kid came up and poked my right breast, and I instinctively smacked his hand away, not caring that he was a kid. "Excuse me, but you shouldn't do that, especially to a woman. It's not polite, and it's considered assault and harassment." Dad immediately got mad at me and started screaming at me not to touch his son. He said that it was my fault and that if I didn't want attention like this, I should keep my fun bags put away. I was in tears and looking around for an escape, especially since the more the dad yelled at me, the closer he got to me. He started telling me that there was no way my breasts were real and that he needed to feel them to know for sure. He even told me that I needed to let his son touch them so he could learn the difference between implants and real breasts. Remembering the fact that I had my pepper spray in my bag for any occasion where I needed to defend myself. I usually had a knife too, but that seemed a bit too extreme in the heat of the moment. I pulled the can of pepper spray and told them both to step back and get away from me. At this point, an employee turned the corner, having heard us yelling, and he saw me holding the pepper spray. He freaked out and called for a manager before coming up and yelling at me, demanding to know what I was doing. Thanks to me being in tears, the dad was able to butt in and started lying to the employee that I was seducing his son and pulled my pepper spray out when the dad had tried to come to his son's rescue. The son immediately started agreeing with the dad, and the employee was already saying that he was going to call the police while the dad demanded that me and my big breasts get kicked out of the store. Thankfully, at that second, one of my coworkers, a big burly guy, rounded the corner, leading a manager right to the mess. The manager demanded that everyone shut up and calm down. And when we had, he turned to me and asked my side of the story. I told them how the dad insisted that I needed to let them feel my breasts, to see if they were real, and how I explained already I wasn't comfortable and didn't want their attention. The dad backtracked on his story and tried to defend himself, saying it was all for educational purposes, and lied that I agreed beforehand. This was when my coworker got mad and pointed at the camera at the end of the aisle, reminding them that it would have caught everything. The dad and kid both went silent for a moment, before making a break for the exit. The manager took off after them, yelling them to stop, and my coworker berated the employee for threatening me the way he did. Of course, the dad and son got away, but the employee was fired, and I never went back to that store by myself, per my friend's request. Please teach your sons to respect women, and don't harass women. Plenty of us are insecure of our bodies, and don't want the attention our bodies attract, and we appreciate it if you don't make things worse for us. Also, never assume that a woman's body is fake or that you're entitled to touch it.